In the meantime, comedian Chris Lilley has defiantly uploaded scenes of him portraying Jonah from Tonga, despite a recent backlash. Lilley has yet to respond directly to allegations from former schoolboy Philip May, who believes that the character was based on him and still feels embarrassed about that depiction. In a sign that Lilley doesn't agree with either that allegation or Netflix's decision to remove 4 of his shows from their platform, he uploaded deleted scenes to his social media.
Well, me and my brother, we sing the Bangles to my mum. We have some photos of my mum, and almost every night we sing the Bangles because that is my mum's favourite song, Close Your Eyes. My mum loved that song because when she was with my dad and they went to the Bangles concert, that's when my dad kissed my mum when they were playing that song. And my dad said he pinched her bum. And that's always her favourite song that she remembers from that moment. And that's what we think about when we're singing it.
It's interesting. It's interesting, isn't it, Robbo? Because he has talked about the fact how much he loves the Jonah character. Peter Ford actually did a tweet today where he circled all the recent uploads in the last couple of days. This is not coincidence. This is not a mistake. Chris Lilley has decided to go, no, I stand by my art, and I actually quite like that. If he believes he's in the right, I have no problem with him doing this whatsoever.
I really respect this. I love that he hasn't just bowed down like everyone else in this kind of cancel culture, because, you know, we're kind of tarring everyone with a big brush, aren't we? So if there's even something remotely kind of connected to blackface or brownface, then it must be completely bad. Again, we will stress that we are 3 white guys talking about this. It doesn't mean we can't have an opinion about it. But I just think that this is really different to Little Britain, for example. So Little Britain, it was always just comedy, you know, and they were doing blackface and everything. Chris Lilley's comedy is really quite, it's got a lot of depth to it. So you get these kind of, you know, jokes and whatever, and then you get these really lovely moments that he's able to do. That is a lovely moment. It's an actor portraying a character. It is not, you know, shitting on the race or, you know, anything like that. It is just a character, or sorry, an actor who's created a character and given him depth. Again, I said this yesterday, at the end of Summer Heights High, it was Jonah who had that really amazing, very sweet, very dramatic, you know, change of events that happened to him in the last episode, which was beautiful. That was beautiful. I commend him for doing this. I really do.
Ben, there is a extra layer to this because Philippe has come out and has basically faced a lifetime of everyone knowing this character was based on him, and he hasn't liked that. You know, we talked about the parody on the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt yesterday, which led to a suicide. This is not a public figure. This is a guy. Does that take it away from the whole blackface, brownface issue and put it on a deeper level with Lilley posting these videos when there is a guy who's actually saying, you base this character on me and I do not like it?
There's certainly levels of disrespect going on here, and I think in this situation, we're sort of stepping outside of the circle of how we were talking about blackface, etc. This is a person who's come forward who was used as a focus point for creating this character. This kid has gone on to live a traumatic existence because of this character being created by Chris Lilley. And I think it's really tone deaf of Chris Lilley, who I love, but very tone deaf of him not to censor some of his social commentary out of respect for the person who was the source material. I just want to use another example. A friend of mine's life was depicted in a book. She had someone ring her and say, your life is fascinating. I want to write a book about it. The book became a best-selling novel. Across the country, reprinted. My friend is not getting any royalties from this whatsoever. The person who ended up writing the story about her life won't even answer this woman's phone calls anymore, and she is making lots of money off it. Let me tell you, when it comes to the source of this story, the source of this story is a boy who's upset about the depiction of himself. It is credited to him. It's now more credited to him, essentially, because it's in the media, and it's a little bit disrespectful that...
It hasn't been proven. Well, it was just, he was part of a documentary. Chris Lilley did go to his school, but there are a lot of Tongan boys at the school. I really think it's a long bow to draw by saying that this is definitely what's happened to this.
There are specific examples, Robbo. I think it's well established.
Absolutely, it is credited.
But back to you, hold on, but back to you, when you're saying everyone knows. No one knew. Yeah, maybe a circle of his friends knew, but this is where we're getting into that cancel culture. So I don't want him to be, have a bad life, and he doesn't. He's got a really good life now.
Can I just say,
he's got a
you
very
are
good
one
life.
of the
Hold
most...
on, wait.
You are one of the most sensitive people I know.
Let Robbo finish his point, though.
He's got a very good life. Now, all I'm saying is, do we cancel someone completely because it made 5 people upset? I'm just really worried. I'm not dismissing what his feelings are. I'm really not. But it worries me when we, do it for that reason. I don't know.
Let's reduce the numbers to you. Let's just take it down from 5 people that are upset and just say it's you. And let's just say that somebody makes a story based on your life, a character that's called Lobo, and there's people wearing T-shirts of you, and it's now taken a turn. It's now something else. It's metastasized into an environment that is making you feel upset every day of your life. Do I, as your friend, protest that somebody should stop mocking you in that fashion? Absolutely, I would. And that's because I know you to be a sensitive person, Robbo. We don't necessarily know how sensitive this boy is, who's the source of a Chris Lilley character. But what I want to do, and what I will always do, is protect the underdog and respect the minority and try and fight for somebody who feels like they are being silenced by a person who has a much bigger platform than them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that, but I've met many of these boys that Jonah is. So it's not like he's taken on these really broad stereotypes. I have met these guys. They talk like that. They act like that. Yeah. So at what point do we then go, well, it can't be observational comedy because, you just can't do that. If it was a Tongan boy doing it, would it be any different? Because this guy's saying that he doesn't like the way that he's being perceived.
Well, Nick
by Chris
Giannopoulos,
Lilley.
Wog's out of work. He totally mocked the Wog culture.
So if it was a Tongan boy doing it, would we be having the same issues? But I would hazard a guess that the Tongan boy would act the same way. So I just don't know.
I get that.
Yeah.
Look, it's
since
very
doing
difficult.
This show, I will say that, since doing this show, I've seen on social media, because I have a presence on social media, all 3 of us being mocked. And when I've seen that happening, I have addressed that with the person directly. And if I haven't got what I need out of that, which is to stop that narrative, I block that person and hope it disappears. Now, that is a protection of the 3 of us because we are in a show together and I respect you guys as friends, and that's what I will do. And we are maybe on a smaller platform than Chris Lilley, but at the end of the day, I fight for what is right. And sometimes I'm emotional and sometimes that's where my instinct is at. But for this particular situation, and we've got 3 more steps to go through knowing how this show is going to go on, we're going to have 3 more steps about cultural inappropriate behavior when it comes to depicting people. So we're going to get to that as the show evolves. But I just want to say, this still doesn't bode well with me. It really doesn't bode well with me. And I think Chris Lilley's nature of coming forward and then pushing this narrative just that little bit, that step too far, I think is a really dangerous environment. And I think we have to be very careful about that.
I think the next phase for him is not actually just to upload clips and say, is actually for him to put out a statement, say where he's coming from, disagree if he disagrees with the narrative, disagree if he disagrees with Philip, and say it's not based on him. Although everything, when you read about the fact Lilley saw the documentary that featured him and went to the school, there is a lot of information that says it was based on this guy. But Lilley has his chance. He doesn't even need to do a sit-down interview. Although, Chris, you're welcome to come on the Ben, Rob and Robbo show.
Well, that's a really valid point. This is a call out to Chris Lilley. But you know what the next step for him would be is, and I don't know if this has happened, and maybe it has, and maybe I should be silenced because of this, but maybe Chris Lilley should go and reach out to this boy and have a line of communication, and then also clear it up. Clear it up for the Chris Lilley fans and prove to us, and I know this about Chris Lilley, I've met him a number of times and I love him, prove to us that you are man enough to be able to control the situation.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo show.